Hey, everybody. Hello, YouTube land, and maybe people I know, and maybe a couple people I don't know. You never know, right? You never know on this funny place called YouTube. But so far, I think I see people I know. Hey, Sandy Wandy. It's so good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. I hope that are you still in transit? You were in the air a while ago, weren't you? I hope you got where you're going safely, or you are in process of getting there safely. Hey, Miss Dragon is here. It's so good to see you. How's it going? How's it going with hubby and all the things? How's everyone doing? I had kind of I don't know if you would say big day today or kind of exciting. I got a babysitter for the first time and I don't remember how long. We had a babysitter for 4 hours. We went out to eat lunch and then we were like, lunch only took like an hour and a half. We have like 3 more hours. And we hadn't really thought that through because it was kind of like last minute. We weren't sure if the babysitter would be able to come. So when she did, we were like, well, we're going to use our 3 more hours. So we actually just kind of drove around. Like, I think we went to Starbucks and we just kind of like drove around and made fun of stuff and like riffed on stuff and like made jokes. And it was pretty fun. It was, the kind of jokes you can't make in front of your 5-year-old because that's our sense of humor. So it was a blast. It was nice to be an adult for 4 hours today. It was pretty cool. Hey, Rolling Stone is here. It's good to see you. How are you hanging in there? I know there was been some tough stuff going on. It's good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Mon, good to see you. Thanks for the pictures from the future. I'll show those in just a second. I'm really excited. Those are so beautiful. Mon sends me the photos from the future in Australia, 16 hours ahead of me. Hey, Warren Shovel. Good to see you again. I was just talking about you earlier today and your good questions and like stuff that made me think. And I really appreciate the good questions. I do. I did. I did. We went on a date. It was kind of funny. Like it had been so long that there was even a little bit of that like getting to know you stuff again, which you wouldn't think would be a thing, but because it's been almost 10 years, but it was a thing. Like, oh, I have to remember like what kind of stuff did we used to talk about before we just talked about our child all the time. Um, and we remember pretty fast. It turns out we make a lot of really like off-color humor and like dark jokes. That's kind of that's how we bonded from the very beginning, and that's how we bond still. So that was nice. In a good way. I was just talking in a good way, Warren. I was talking to my husband earlier today, like about doing these lives and just like, sometimes they start one direction, go another direction. Sometimes I would get really good, thoughtful questions from people. And I mentioned, like, oh, yeah. And I have this one person that has been showing up and asking really thoughtful, good questions. So, totally in a positive light, just talking to my husband about live streaming and just what it's been like. He has been doing Twitch live streaming. That's a little bit different. You play games on Twitch. Like you play video games and you kind of like I mean, it's kind of similar to YouTube in that like anyone can just show up or people with your link or who know you can show up and you're kind of just talking through as you play the game though. So it's very I guess it's similar to what I'm doing here except I don't have a game that I'm playing. I'm just talking to you guys. But it's cool. I can see why people are into the Twitch streaming thing. And I don't know. Hey, Jesse Miller Unboxings is here. So good to see you. That's cool, Mom. That's cool listening. So maybe in and out today. No worries. No worries. Hey, Miss Sunrise Dawn is here. Hi from North Georgia, everyone. Well, hi from North Texas to you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Hey, congratulations on the one cigarette earlier. That's amazing. That's awesome. I think that you should be celebrated mucho muchly for that. Sorry for my extremely technical language there. That's really hard to do when you're first starting out. That's awesome. That's awesome. I'm excited for you. Somebody's coming in saying hi. This is good. This is good. This is cool. So what did everybody do today? Did you guys have the day off of work? Did you have the day off of other obligations? Did you have to work maybe because you work in retail or at a restaurant or something? Um, ooh, no, Warren, I did not catch this. Was it a comment you put up in the chat during the live stream? At one point, I did get really behind in the comments in the live stream chat, so I may have missed it. But I love TED Talks. I would love, like, if you can like drop that link again for me or like remind me what it was. I would love to go watch that. I love TED Talks and I love reacting to things. Um, Maybe someday I could get a separate monitor and we could all react to it together. But you gotta be careful with that because you have to make sure it's transformative and that you're not just re-streaming someone else's content. So, but yeah, I would love to see that. I love TED Talks. And they have like all these different like sub I guess brands of TED Talks too, where it's like TEDx. I'm not sure what does anyone know what the difference between just a TED Talk and a TEDx is? I don't know. Like, but I've seen both. I've seen both. Hey, Mary from Blessed to Crochet is here. Good to see you. Mary, thank you. Thank you for being such a helpful support, a good friend to me earlier today. The day was good, guys, but the morning didn't start off great. It started off with the kind of like little kid cleanup that you hate having to do. Kind of the worst kind of bodily stuff to have to clean up. And I don't cope with it very well. Like, it's very strange. Like cleaning up stuff is like, I mean, it's a hassle, right? And it's, upsetting, but like lately that kind of cleanup, like I will get like viscerally angry and I have to like make sure like, okay, I don't want to like shame him. I just want to teach him. So like if I'm getting that worked up, I have to be like, okay, go hang out with dad while I clean up, that kind of thing. So the day didn't start great, but we redirected. I found something else to do. I took some time. I voice clipped to Mary. I worked through it a little bit, and then the day got better. The day got better. So reach out to your friends. That helps. That helps. The TEDx talks, Rick Spicy, I think just means that Ted's really horny. I love you, Rick. That's hilarious. That makes me so happy. I don't know. Who is this Ted guy anyway? Like, and why do they name these talks after him? I gotta say, I don't know the history of the TED Talks. I would love to know, but I don't know the history of them. I did see this really funny thing that somebody posted up on Facebook today that I couldn't quite ignore because it reminded me of, I guess it was a few weeks back. I asked on one of these lives, I asked you guys that hypothetical question that was viral on TikTok about like if you're a woman and you're walking alone in the woods, would you prefer to encounter a strange man or a bear? And a lot of the women were choosing the bear, and this was very controversial and like raised all kinds of questions about why and with whom women feel safe and that kind of thing. But I saw this really, really funny post today. This was shared. It's not mine. I didn't make it. It was shared by a creator named Titus Wilbur, who's a comedian, and they have a Facebook account. But what was shared was, would you rather share your feelings with a tree or a woman? And it didn't specifically call out that it was a question for the guys, but I don't know. Like, there's something to that, right? Like, I'm kind of curious. Like, so a lot of women I know are very patient and very validating if you want to talk about your feelings or vent about them. But that's to me, who is another like woman, female presenting person, like they're very patient with me when I vent and talk about my feelings. And I wonder if that, like, I've never lived in the body or visage of a man. So I don't know what it's like to be a man trying to talk about my feelings. So I wonder, like, do men get that same consideration from most women in their lives? Do they get somebody that's like, do they get someone that's validating and like make space for that? Or do they get something different? Is it maybe different and easier to talk to a tree about your feelings? I don't know, but, you could ask the same question of women too. You could. I think they're all fun, silly questions. Oh, that's a good point. That may have been where the TED Talks came from. Tech ed speeches. That makes sense. Was it, Jesse? Was that the first live stream you saw from me? Yeah, that was totally random. Like, my husband told me about this viral thing on TikTok, and I'm like, "That's an interesting question. I wonder what people have to say about that, like, in a more live forum and not just, like, commenting on something." Because a comment, like, I don't know, live, it's a little bit different. Like, you can bounce off of each other. You can ask for clarification, like, immediately, and whereas, like, just, like, static comments on an Instagram post or something like that, it's harder to, like, understand each other's perspective, I think. So, I liked bringing it to the live stream to ask what you guys thought. Hi, Don. One's on the smoke. Mon, Jesse, Rolling, Warren, Sandy. Good day. I love it. Good day. Oh, it's really a guy named Ted? For real? That's the origin of TED Talks? That's awesome. Is Ted still with us? I wonder. Hey, Sandy Wandy. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you. I saw you here at the beginning. You always are like one of the first people here. I appreciate that so, so much. That always like it always tickles me, like when there's like people here. Like, I'm still expecting like to do these and like it's just me talking to myself. So anytime there's people here, it's like, wow, that's cool. How'd that happen? Your landing, Sandy Wandy, was it an okay flight? Was it smooth, I hope? Not too much drama or turbulence or anything like that, I hope. I hope. This seems like a good time to share with you guys the future photo that Mon shared with me. Let's see. So this is her view from the library, and they have these really cool, like, large, like, windows. Like, I guess you can't see that very well. My computer, I'm sorry, guys. Look at those beautiful blue skies in the future that we have to look forward to. I'm so excited. It's beautiful. And even if it does end up raining here, I'll be like, well, it's beautiful somewhere. That makes me happy. Oh, computer programming TEDx talks. They'll make your brain smoke and overheat. They might. I've never been much for computer programming, so they might make my brain overheat for sure. Warren asks what said when I regarding the bear question, I mostly am unhappy when people on either side claim certainty about having worked through a calculation of the probabilities. Yeah, yeah. I hear you. That makes sense. Like, so my husband asked me the question first, because he's the one that saw it first. And the first thing I did was I stop and I'm like, well, what kind of bear? And there are a lot of people that were in this chat here that night who asked the same thing. Well, what kind of bear? Like, how tall is the man? Like, is he angry? Like, all of the variables, right? But I guess to make it just a true hypothetical, you kind of have to like equalize that and be like, well, it's just a strange man. It's just a man you've never met. But that was kind of important to me. Like, well, is it a tiny man? Like, is it a tiny bear? Like, is the bear angry? Is the man angry? These are all important variables. But I think it makes sense to, just give the caveat that like, hey, this is just my gut reaction. Not necessarily based on data. My gut reaction is I would prefer the bear, but there's a lot of variables that might change my mind if I knew what those were. Oh, good. I'm glad it was a chill fight, Sandy Wandy. That's awesome. My phone is not great too. Actually, my phone has got it's not that it's not a great photo necessarily, but my phone has got little fingerprints all over it because my kiddo got a hold of it. So it's still kind of I still need to wipe it off a little bit. I don't stick him with my phone all day long, but he did get a hold of it for part of today. So right, exactly. As thorough as possible given the available data. There wasn't in that hypothetical, there wasn't a lot of available data. It was just kind of like you're walking alone in the woods, would you rather encounter a strange man or a bear? Mm, I would love to see a cute cat pic, Miss Sunrise Dawn. That would be awesome. I would appreciate that so much. Rolling Stone says, I choose the man. I have yet to scare away any bears. You know what? Good point. Good point. And I think my first gut reaction was I think I would have chosen the bear because to me, the bear is more predictable, which is not necessarily always true. But human beings in general are wily creatures. We have different motivations that may not necessarily have anything to do with like the basic stuff of like, like food and survival, right? Like, I guess I had it in my head. Maybe the bear is more predictable. But I guess if I don't know all of the behavior patterns of said bear, they're not predictable to me. So I don't know. Maybe it's a flawed thought. But I'm still curious if you'd rather share your feelings with a woman or a tree. I'm still curious about that one. You dislike the bear question, Sandy Wandy. There's a lot of reasons to dislike it. Like, I totally get that. I totally get that. Did anyone mention the distance away? That probably changes the bear's decisions a lot, but not the man's as much. That's a good point. I don't remember anyone mentioning that in the original hypothetical or in our discussion. They might have though, but I don't remember anyone mentioning that. But yeah, if the bear's like really far away, then he's probably just like, whatever, human. I'm going to go about my business and do my stuff. You're not late. You're here exactly when you need to be, Miss Dragon. I'm just happy you're here. I'm just happy to see you. I got in the very end of Lighthouse Monday. I think I was either feeding my kiddo or putting my kiddo to bed. But then I saw and actually my phone had died. So my phone was charging. And then finally my phone charged back up. And then I got the notification. And so then I clicked it, but it was right towards the very end of it. I think that's a really cool concept, Mary, to like kind of give people a space to just connect. You don't necessarily have to have a live host, but you have like some kind of like something there to go off of and you have a place for people to connect. I think that's cool. Rolling Stone says bears are notoriously unpredictable, men less so. And I've never punched a bear in the nutsack. Good point. These are good points. And Sandy Wandy adds black bears, you can make a lot of noise and will just walk off. Yeah, yeah. So some of them you can scare away. Mon is saying, I choose the bear because I scare men away. So part of this hinges on our ability to predict the bear and scare one or the other. It sounds like that's part of this theme. Hey, Don Gloves RNSP is here. So good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out with us. I'm so glad. So Miss Dragon says, I put my odds on a strange man. 9 out of 10 bears will kill me. 1 out of 10 men will. The others will protect me. That's a good point. That's a good point. I think how we think about this, I think sometimes how people answer this kind of speaks to what their experiences with men and or bears have been, you know? Like I bet we'd get a totally different answer from like a park ranger. Totally different, I'm guessing. Rick, this is a good question. Does the bear have an addiction problem and where is he with it in his or her life? Is there a bear mama involved? We do care about what's going on in that bear's life. That will affect his behavior. I have to go back and watch the replay of this. I saw from what I saw, that was awesome. Guys, if you didn't know, Mary over at Blush to Crochet ran I guess it was a live, but with I guess it was like a premiere. So it gave people the space to chat, but not necessarily requiring a live host. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mary. Well, this is an interesting perspective. Miss Dragon says the question is damaging to young girls for learning to understand men for the young age. I can see that. Like if you ask this question of younger girls who haven't necessarily had much experience with bears and or men, it kind of like creates this idea of like, oh, well, should I be afraid of one or the other? And if so, why? And it maybe gives them ideas about something that they didn't have before. So I think that's a good point. That's a good point. I agree, Sandy Wandy. Mary is a connection genius. Mary has helped me a lot in setting up my channel. Mary made the thumbnail for this live today. She just like without me asking her to, just because she's a good friend, she made a bunch of thumbnails for me. She helped me find different support for like trying to grow my channel a little bit. And she's also just a great friend, like when I have something to vent about, like she's always there and she's like always willing to listen. And she's a great friend. So she is a connection genius. I agree wholeheartedly. Oh, I love slideshows of lighthouses. I'm going to go back and watch that for sure. That sounds very soothing. Sounds very calming. Warren Schull asks, here's another version. You're surfing several hundred feet from an otherwise abandoned beach and you fall off the surfboard. Would you rather encounter a man or a shark? Several hundred feet from the otherwise abandoned beach. So I can get to the beach. So I don't have to worry about drowning. This is a good question. The man. Yeah, the man. I think that 9 times out of 10, the shark is going to try to eat me. And for some reason, I feel more sure about the shark trying to eat me than the bear. Like, the bear might be friendly, the bear might not try to eat me, depending on what kind of bear it is, but I think always a shark's gonna well, I don't know, humans aren't necessarily sharks' favorite food. Like, a lot of sharks, they attack humans because they think we're sea lions, and that's their favorite, but, um, yeah, shark's just a straight up predator, so I think probably I would rather encounter the man. Uh But I don't know, is the man in the water with the shark or on the abandoned beach? Because like, the shark cannot follow me onto the abandoned beach. If I'm stuck on this abandoned beach, like, on this island, then that also is very like, I could get away from the shark, but if on the off chance that the man is not a good man or a safe man, then I'm stuck on this island with him, and I can't just take to the water to escape, because I don't have gills. So but my gut instinct is I'd rather encounter the man. Rather. Rather take my chances with the dude. Polar bears will eat you. I didn't know polar bears were this mean. I had no idea. Is that just the difference in like they're just more aggressive or predatory than other bears? I didn't know that. Jesse Miller, we've got another vote for the strange man. No one wants to be between a mama bear protecting her cubs. That is a good point. If it's a mama bear, you do not, and there's cubs involved. Mm-mm. Hey, this is what you gotta do. Sometimes, like, when you live out in the country, you can do that, or if you don't have trash pickup when you need it, it's what you gotta do. What you gotta do. Okay, Jesse, this is a good point. I've seen bears in the wild, another reason to choose the man. Okay, so you're not I think some of us are not very, educated on the bear, right? Like, we don't know as much about bears as we think we do. Maybe we think of them as, like, Winnie the Pooh and, like, I don't know. Like, maybe it would only attack a human if they're super hungry, but that's not necessarily the case, is it? Um, like, bears probably can be pretty aggressive and doesn't have the, species loyalty that perhaps a human man would. Hi, Janet G, good to see you. Thanks for coming, thanks for being here. Okay, I'm gonna butcher the pronunciation of this name, but I'm gonna try so y'all can laugh. In Utqiagvik. Utqiagvik? Tell me if that was Utqiagvik. Tell me if that was anywhere near close. But in Utqiagvik, they have polar bear alarms when the bears wander into town. Wowza. That's interesting. What does a polar bear alarm sound like? I wonder. Is it like somebody saying polar bear? Or is it like, because it's to alert the citizens, I guess, not necessarily to scare the bear, I'm thinking? That's fascinating. Mischief! It's so good to see you. I'm glad you made it. Hey, did you change your avatar? Oh, it's a puppy dog now. Oh, it's so cute. Is that your current puppy dog? Oh, thanks for being here, Mischief. Okay, I will go back and skim through it. You gave a shout out to me. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so sorry I missed it while it was live. That sucks. But, I was running around doing things today, like a human who goes out into the world, which is weird. Mostly because we had a babysitter, so we could do that. Mm, this is a good point. Miss Dragon says, "Pay close attention. Questions like this and reactions like this are not aimed at adults. They're aimed at their children to preform their mind into the direction people want to have them go." You may be onto something there. I think that's an interesting perspective, and it could be possible. I mean, when I first heard this question, like, it wasn't you know what? It was introduced to TikTok, through TikTok, like, that was where it went viral first, as far as I'm aware. So, I mean, that does kind of suggest that maybe it was directed towards younger people, because that's who's on TikTok usually. Right, is gonna be, like, kids and, like, younger people, like us, like, I mean, as far as I know, everybody here is an adult. Technically, you could lie about your age, and I'd have no way to check that, but as far as I know, everybody here is an adult, so us having a discussion about that is one thing, but having it just pop up for people who are, like, I don't know, 10, 12. I'm trying to think back to being a 12-year-old on the internet, if that question had popped up. I don't know what I would have thought. Because at the time, I didn't have any concept of I mean, let me think back. Yeah, I didn't think necessarily at the age of, like, 10 or 11 that all men were automatically unsafe. I didn't think that, and I think that I you're right, it does the way the question is phrased does kind of default to this, "Oh, men are unsafe," kind of suggestion, which is not necessarily true. It's true some of the time, surely, but not all the time. So I think you make a good point there. Yeah, Sandy Wandy, that was a good point. This is why I dislike the bear question. It's sexist. Yeah, it is. It is. Thanks for speaking your mind, Mist. Yeah, I agree. And everything is anti-patriarchy. I ask you this, why is the AI always a woman? Oh, like the sound of the AI voices? Hello, how are you? Da, 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 da. I actually think I might have an answer to that. But I have to go find and dig to, like, cite the actual sources, so forgive me, but I feel like I remember reading somewhere that there was a study done on, like, the voices of, like, GPS devices and stuff like that, and how people responded to them, and they found that, like, women were equally likely to follow the directions of a voice, I think, whether it was a man or a woman voice, but men were more likely to follow the direction of an AI voice if it was a woman. So, actually, yeah, you're onto something there. You're onto something. That's very interesting. I'm gonna that sounds like a rabbit hole to go down, miss. Thank you for that. In a year, Mary already has 300 subscribers. Do you mean she'll have 3,000 subscribers? I think she will. I think she will. Mary already has, like, knock on the door 600, maybe a little bit more? Rolling Stone says, "Mist, I would rather be overwarned about the nature of the beast inside men than as underinformed as I was as a young girl. Nobody should hit puberty as ignorant as I was." This is a good point as well. This is a good point as well. Um, yeah, there were certain spaces that, like, I was in as a 12-year-old that were definitely not safe spaces for a 12-year-old girl. And a lot of them were on the internet and some of them were in person. And, like, it was very obviously not a safe space to show up and say, "Hey," like, here I am in an AOL chat room. I'm 13 years old or 12 years old, and I said, "Hey, I'm a 12-year-old girl in, Texas, and I like gymnastics." You would not believe the speed with which I got, like, several different private messages on AOL Instant Messenger, and it was all dudes who identified themselves as adult men asking me what I looked like, what I was wearing, and way more than that, and that was immediate. So, you make a good point, Rolling Stone. There are definitely spaces where and I don't know if maybe that space drew those men to it because it had the feeling of being anonymous, but you make a good point too. You do. I think that's something to consider. Hey, thanks for doing the YouTube thing for me, Mon. Please hit the like button, or if you're not feeling it, if you're not liking it, you can hit the dislike button too. That's okay as well. Um, and if you like what if you're like what we're talking about and you're enjoying the content, maybe hit the subscribe button. That would be cool too. I would appreciate it muchly. This is a good question too. What kind of shark? Details. That's a good point. A human might save you if he can swim. And Warren adds, "That makes sense. Bears are omnivores, sharks are carnivores." Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is, like, probably 9 times out of 10, the shark's gonna try to eat me. Like, there's nothing else he can eat. He's gotta eat meat, and as a human, I would be meat. Yeah, check out the replay of Mary's recent Lighthouse Monday. That was pretty cool. I caught the very tail end of it. I got it in my watch later to catch up on it. And my touchscreen just froze. That's okay, it's awake now. Rick, that's why I swim like a whale safely. I like it. You mean in the shark scenario, a man would normally assist you in that situation? The puzzles are awesome. Yeah, I feel like the shark like, that's a little yeah, yeah. Or if you're like, I don't know, if you've fallen off your surfboard, a shark's never gonna assist you if you've fallen off your surfboard. A man yeah, I could see, like, a man probably would, like, probably. Like, they're probably not just gonna, like, sit there and be like, good luck." Like, they're not gonna try to hasten the drowning, at least. Whereas a shark will definitely attempt to hasten your drowning, I think. And I don't fault the shark for that. That's just what sharks do. That's what they're built to do. I don't know. Warren asks, "Won't polar bears, excuse me, even destroy your tires?" Ooh, I don't know. Rolling Stone points out that any bear will eat you. I didn't even think about that. I thought there were a lot of bears that, subsisted more, like, on nuts and berries and things like that, and, like, fish, but I guess they're all omnivores. I guess they all like meat when they can get it. Woohoo! Mary got over 1,000 watch hours today. That's awesome. I'm so excited for you, Mary. That's awesome. That's great. Ooh, this is a good point and an interesting point. Miss Dragon says, "Taking away a man's masculinity makes them a more dangerous man because they have something to prove." I could see that. Like, psychologically, I could definitely see that. Like, there's probably a frustration that's involved there and, like, a need to like, there's, like, some inherent aggression in, like, just being a human, right? Like, we're kind of built to fight to survive, right? And I think probably historically, men even more so, just based on hormonal influences and things like that. And then if you and then I think previously, like, maybe ideally, society gives you an appropriate way to channel that, right? Like an appropriate and like life affirming way to channel that, like drive, like that need to like fight for survival or success or what have you. Um, but if we take away all of the societally approved avenues to do all those things, then what's left? People still have this aggressive impulse, but nothing to do with it. So it can go sideways really fast. I think that's a good point, Mist. I think that's a good point. Janet G adds, "With bears, it really depends on the type of bear, the time of year, whether they are with cubs, and their behavior is exhibiting. There's normal bear behavior and predatory behavior." Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. Like, those are variables that are really important for sure. Oh, I love this. Mary says, "My kiddo may be grown and married, but this mama bear still comes out from time to time." I love that. I definitely feel the inner mama bear for myself, like, quite a bit. Like, leaving him with a babysitter, like, I agonized over that decision, like, I researched and I, like, got references and I, like, background checked this person, and I made sure this was a person that, like, knew, like, his particular, needs, like, sensory needs and things like that. So, yeah, I totally I feel ya with the mama bear thing. Oh, I don't think I'm not sure I knew if you that you grew up in Alaska, Rolling Stone. Thanks for sharing that, that's interesting. Rolling Stone says, "I grew up in Alaska. Black bears are dangerous. Brown bears are huge and dangerous. Polar bears are hungry and dangerous." So all the bears are dangerous. Okay, got it. I mean, that's easy to remember. Oh, this is the pronunciation. Utqiagvik. 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 Cool. Cool. Very cool. They have bear alarms in Utqiagvik. So you have to say it in a sentence for me to remember it. Utqiagvik. That's kind of fun to say. Rick Spicer says there must be picture shark because I look like a whale in pics. Oh, 9 out of 10 men are good men in your life, so the one you meet is too. Yeah, you know what? That's a good point, Rick. Like I met some crappy men as a kid, not gonna lie to you. Like the randomness, like the random roulette wheel of men I met online as a kid was not in my favor, but that's entirely different now. Like in this community and in adjacent communities, um like, all of the men in these communities are good people, like, thus far that I have met, that I have been in direct contact with. I may have disagreements on, I don't know, certain things with them on some things, I'm sure I do, but I've never felt like any of these people are out to get me. So I think you make a really good point, Rick. And I guess part of that is, like, because a lot of us know each other from a community, from the lifeboat or from, like, adjacent communities, so, like, I don't know, that kinda the community that kinda like, I guess for lack of a better word, it like polices itself, you know? Like we encourage certain behaviors, we discourage other behaviors, everybody's encouraged to be respectful and things like that. And if someone's not, they kinda get kicked out early on. But I would agree with you. Probably 9 out of 10 men are good men or have the intentions to be. Let's see. The bear alarm. Is that what the bear alarm sounds like? Bear, bear, bear. Is it just a person shouting bear on a loudspeaker? I'm really curious what the bear alarm sounds like in Utqiagvik. That sounds fun. Oh, don't be cranky, Mon. Mon says I'm still catching up, and I was so cranky I missed. Don't be cranky. Well, I mean, you're entitled to be if you feel that way. I don't want to invalidate your feelings, but I hope the cranky feeling subsides because I know it doesn't feel good to be cranky. Mischief, that's tamer than I was thinking early, less profane. Warren Shaw adds directed towards don't know that the virality was intended. Oh, like from the question, like on TikTok, whatever. On TikTok. No, that's a mint. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, doesn't everybody who posts something on TikTok hope it goes viral? I don't know, maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. But, that was interesting that that one went viral. Of all the things that go viral on TikTok, usually it's not hypothetical questions about scenarios that have, like, moral and societal implications. Those are not usually the things that go viral on a platform like TikTok. Usually it's stupid stuff that doesn't make you think. So I was just kind of floored that it was like, oh, whether you hate the question or like the question, at least there's some meat here to grab onto, you know? Let's see. Do. Oh, it sounds like a loud horn. The bear, the bear alarm, like a tornado alarm. Like we have tornado alarms here. Really? And that question of the stupid dress color helps map someone's brain. I never got really into the dress color. Like, there's no discussion there. Like, I mean, like, that doesn't for me, the bear question can go interesting places. People can have different reasons for how they feel the way they do. People have different reasons for how they feel about the question itself and what, their personal experiences or their background led them to where they are in their perception of it. But the dress color thing is just like, oh, you see it one way, you see it another way. And that's kind of the end, like, that doesn't really I mean, you can talk a little bit about why some people see it one way and some people see it the other way, but it doesn't go all down all these little avenues and rabbit holes, so I wasn't a big fan. I don't even remember what it looked like to me. I don't. Okay, Mischief is voting for if I was a kid, I'd want the bear 100%. Miss Dragon says, "You're raising a son. When you do that, you are more in tune with how he will be treated in the future. I raised only boys, so it's a flag to me." Yeah, I do think about that a lot. Like, I do think about, like, gosh, I don't want people to like, he's 5, he's little now, but one day he will be larger and probably somewhat formidable to some people. Like he's already tall for his age. He'll probably be tall. Um, Gosh, I don't want somebody to see him and assume he's meaning them harm. Gosh, I really, really don't, you know? Um, so that's a whole different way of looking at this question. And it's an important way of looking at it too. Um, I mean, I think when we encounter like strangers of any gender or whatever, like if someone we've never met before, we do have to kind of assess like on a case by case basis whether it's like a safe person or not. And sometimes that's easier said than done. And I think the human brain takes shortcuts. Like that's kind of how we survived is the whole categorizing thing that we do and the whole like grouping thing. Our brain takes shortcuts in an attempt to survive. Like it's faster and more expedient to assume that all men are dangerous than to try and figure out each individual one. Um, Maybe sometimes that's the case, but not always. And yeah, I do think about that a lot. Gosh, I don't want people to assume he's some kind of dangerous person out to get them. Morn Shell says, I always found the British woman AI voice quite annoying. And I don't use AI voice as much anyway. Yeah, for a while. So I use instead of like Google Maps, I use Waze. And for a while you could like change the voices of the navigator person. And for a while you could like make it Rob Gronkowski, the tight end from the New England Patriots, and he has kind of a goofy voice, so that was funny. There was one called Boy Band where it sounded like boy band style singing, so that was kind of fun. Now I just have the random AI lady voice when I use it. I did make a tea. This is peppermint tea. This is nothing super fancy. This is Twinnings of London herbal tea, and it's peppermint. And it says over 300 years of experience. Established 1706. Wow. That's a tea company that's been around a long time, huh? This is good. I'm here for this. Rolling Stone says, I raised a son too, and I raised him to respect women, to be honest, and to wear a condom. I'm here for this. Yep. Yeah, Jesse. You remember the AOL chat rooms? ASL, age, sex, location. That's what everybody said. So, like, I was totally naive. Like, I would go in and be like, oh, uh, 13 female Texas. Bring, 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 bring. That's what would because you could the chat rooms, like you could just click somebody and private message them. And I didn't know that anyone had any like ill intent of any kind. I just thought, oh, it's just people talking. Mm. Ooh. This makes me think, Mist. A lot of people don't realize they're born by a woman, taught by a woman. A lot of teachers are still predominantly women, and then they marry a woman. Women lead lives without most realizing it. I kind of like that. I mean, in a way it's like we have more power than we realize. Um like if we really want our kids to think about things in a different way, like, maybe we have more opportunities to teach them something different than we think we do. But that's a good point. That's good stuff for my brain to chew on. I like that. Okay, no worries, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Mischief. And if you don't like the content in our super cool vibe, then piss off. Oh, that's funny. You're kidding me, Mist. Early AOL chat rooms, the lesbian groups are 99% men role playing, like pretending to be lesbians. Wow. Rolling Stone makes a good point. The real lesbians had better things to do. I love that. That's hilarious. Y'all are awesome. With bears, it depends on whether or not the bear is hungry, period. Yeah, I think that's fair. Hey, I'm bored. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. I'm bored says, well, hi, hello, everybody. Where I come from, bears are mostly likely to run away than to attack, but only if you don't provoke them. Okay, so that's kind of like, I don't know, makes me think maybe I don't know, maybe the bear is a good one to encounter? I totally didn't mean for the whole, like, live tonight to be about the bear question again, you guys, but I saw that meme about the would you rather share your feelings with a woman or a tree, and I thought that was funny. So, thanks for playing along, everybody. There are also wild bears and bears that have been habituated around humans, totally different bears. Yeah, some bears get trained. Yeah, that's a good point. Like there are trained bears who like find they have their people that they trust and they like. They have their humans that they have an affinity with and they will behave totally different about a human than a regular like wild bear. I did. Blessed to crochet Mary. Thank you so much. I did. I did. When we got back, we had cake. We had so we ordered Thai food, and we also had tiramisu, and we sang happy birthday. It was a good night. It was my husband's birthday tonight, so we had a good day. Hence the babysitter, so we could go get lunch and go be adults for a while. It was a good day. Hey, Danielle McCoy. I'm not sure I saw you come in, but hi, good to see you. My Australian Shepherd chased a 300-ish pound black bear in the back country of Wyoming. Wowza! We were backpacking to the Continental Divide. It was quite the sight. Maybe he was herding it? Wow, that is a fearless Australian Shepherd. Was it like protective or was it like, oh, you just belong over here. I'm going to herd you over here? I hope that your Australian Shepherd was okay. That's wild. What a like that's an amazing story. Because I've seen Australian Shepherds, they're not huge. Like they're decent sized dogs, but they're not gigantic. That's fascinating. Rick, long live the hyphen. Amazing PA's towns, only one homeless man, 40 missing. Oh, shot, dump, bear, homeless guy inside. Oh, oh. I'm not sure I follow, but that sounds serious. Oh, Rolling Stone says, I feel like I'm going insane. Where are these tame bears? Where is the interview footage of the bears indicating in which season or mood they prefer to eat or not eat people? Remember, the guy who thought he was friends with a family of bears, you know what happened to that guy? He got eaten by a friggin' bear. You know what? Yeah. I don't know that I haven't met a tame bear. I haven't. But I haven't met a lot of bears either, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, actually, if I think really hard about it, like, I've definitely met more men than I've met bears. So my data is not complete, right? If I had met a bunch of bears, I could say sort of like, well, probably this many out of this many bears are dangerous and this many, wanna leave you alone. I have more of, like, something to go on with men, but then it's like I've had I'm like everybody, I've had bad experiences with men, but the majority of them that I meet, like, on a day-to-day basis, like, the guy at the counter or whatever, like, they're not the majority of them are not bad people or don't behave like bad people towards me. I think it's just this mindset of, "Oh, I'm vulnerable, and if on the off chance that this one is dangerous, I'm SOL, like up S Creek without a paddle because I'm vulnerable. So it's safer for me to assume that they're all dangerous and act accordingly." I think that's the mindset. But it's a sad mindset to be in. Like I would prefer to live in a community where I knew people well enough and they knew me well enough to know that this person is not dangerous, or if they behave badly, the community is going to take care of that and like, tell that person to knock that off, or you know what I mean? I think that's part of the problem is we're disconnected from one another. Like we live in these like huge suburban sprawls and big cities where you don't necessarily know the guy at your gas station counter or walking down the street. Everybody is a stranger. And when everybody is a stranger, everybody feels dangerous. I think that's part of the problem is if I knew these people, like if I thought of men in my community as people I knew, people that I knew their history and I knew their temperament and I knew their wives and their sisters or whoever, I wouldn't have to assume they're all dangerous. Does that make sense? Maybe I'm just crazy. Maybe I'm just crazy. I mean, I am crazy, but I don't know if this is the reason. I'm bored says, how people answer the bear question says a lot about a person, but how people react to being asked the dress question, I think says a lot too. Kind of like if they're committed to, "Oh, it's definitely this color," and they're not willing to consider that it might look different to someone. Yeah, I could see that. That's a good point. Hey, Maya, aka Alice in Art Supply Hoarderland. Hey, everyone. I'm just listening today. That's so cool. Feel free to listen and just hang out. Always good to see you. Thanks for popping your head up to say hi. It always makes me happy. I'm bored, says Rolling Stone. Right. Bad idea on his part. People should never mess with predators. It's never safe unless you work for animal control and it's your job. So you're trained. Yeah. Or you're a zookeeper or a zoologist. And again, trained to do it. Yeah. Yeah. This is, yes. Thank you, Don Gloves. Doug Love says mothers of black sons live with that concern the moment they start interacting with girls. Is that I'm I correct me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking you're referring to when I said the thing about, gosh, I don't want people to assume my son is dangerous when he's not. Um, I don't want people to react defensively to him when it's not necessary. Um, this is really, really tough. This is like it it sucks that we have to, like, teach people a different way to behave so that they're not automatically seen as dangerous, that bar is higher for it. That sucks. Um, I'm glad you mentioned that. I have heard something similar spoken about in the community of parents of kiddos with autism that, as kiddos with autism, generally, they have a difficult time following directions, right? Things like, so there's a fear that parents of kiddos with autism, that as their kids get older, depending on how well they develop the ability to understand and follow directions, like, are they, if a policeman asks them to do something, are they going to do it? Are they, not out of any desire to, like, be uncooperative, but just because they don't understand it, they don't track it right away. And I have met and talked with a lot of mothers of black sons who have autism, who they're terrified that their kid's not gonna immediately comply with an order and something terrible is gonna happen to them. And that could happen to my son too, but I feel like there is kind of a double standard there for sure. Mischief managed says, "I'm starting to fade, my friends. Going up to Seattle to visit my youngest tomorrow." Oh, that's great. Have fun visiting your youngest. Sleep well. Thanks for coming and hanging out for the amount of time you did. It's always good to see you. We need a Bob Dylan voice. Ba-dee, ba-dee, ba-dee. So I think Bob Dylan sounds a little bit like Porky Pig, and I'm sorry. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but if you the caricature version of his voice sounds a little bit Porky Pig. Not necessarily always, but just a little bit. Slow Morrison, "Hey, how's it going? Just popped in to say a quick hello, then I'm off to bed. Late night with Kristen Melinda." Hey, yeah, I tried out a different title. I tried the After Dark. Like, I'm trying out the different titles to kind of describe what it is, but also, I don't know, be a little bit consistent. I don't know. No AOL chat rooms for you. Probably good. Probably good. Unless you were an adult and, like, had the context for people that didn't necessarily have positive intentions. Jesse Miller says, "Yeah, I was naive in the AOL chat rooms for sure. I vaguely remember seeing some for teens only, but there's absolutely no way to verify that." Yeah, exactly. Like, what's to stop you from just, like, going in and, like, trolling that specifically because you're, like, an adult person looking for teenagers? Yeah, yeah. Great thing about being a bear, when a person brings them food, imagine. Food, bring you food. I was just reminded of, like, a Yogi Bear, you guys. He just wanted picnic baskets. So if the bear I'm encountering in the woods is Yogi Bear, all day, every day, pick the bear. Oh, hey, Carrie Ann. You're not late. You're here precisely when you were meant to be here. I'm just happy you're here. Thanks for coming to hang out for a bit. The 60s and 70s, the phone voice operators, customer service, and the time lady. It's funny you mentioned that. Uh, we were talking about, like, voiceovers today and how people get into that, and how, well, it started out, we were talking about calculating tip, and how now most of the time the receipts print out like this is this percentage of your bill, this is this percentage. And my husband was saying, well, now it's a useless skill to be able to calculate the tip because they print it out for you. I said, no, it's not useless. They don't do that everywhere. And he was like, well, my movie phone guy voice, that's a useless skill now. Nobody calls the line to hear the movie phone guy tell them what time the movies are going on. So it's funny you mentioned the customer service lady voice. So those operators, though, these were all women. That's interesting. Makes sense that the AI voice is female too. Yeah. They just kind of continued a pattern. Oh, thanks, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I will pass the message along. Hey, Susan P. Good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. Always nice. Always good to see you. Ooh, is this something I should want an eye opener on not watching kids online? Like not monitoring their activity online? Yeah, I think that's important. I think that's incredibly important. This is a good point, Rolling Stone. Right, trained bears. Remember those guys who trained tigers? Oh, Siegfried and Roy. Yeah, they loved the tigers. Remember what happened to one of those guys? He got eaten by a friggin' tiger. Go ahead, train your bear. I'll wait. I love you, Rolling Stone. And that's a good point. Like, you can develop some kind of relationship with an animal, but like at the end of the day, a predator is a predator. And like when push comes to shove, they're gonna do what they're built to do. So I think that's a good point. Oh, okay. But Janji is clarifying when I say a bear is habituated, I'm talking about bears that have been fed from cars or have become garbage bears. Those bears are dead bears. Feed a bear and it will eventually be shot. Sad. Oh, that's sad because they're coming too close to civilization and people are concerned about them. So they just shoot. Oh, that's sad. I don't know if it's accurate. Maybe someone here with more wildlife knowledge than me can tell me. I have read somewhere that raccoons, like genetically, are closer to bears than other animals. Like just their build and their behavior and their diet and things like that. Like they're kind of like small bears. I don't know if that's true though. I don't know if that's accurate. Bears like to eat. Well, that is something they share in common with me. I enjoy food as well. Ooh. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It flipped. Ah. Sorry, guys. Lost track of the. I lost the. I lost the chat. There we go. I ran into a bear in the wild that didn't care about people. Was up on Mount Rainier, which is covered with people. Oh wow, really? It was just like, you're here. Whatevs. I don't care. Yeah, there's good and bad men. I'm bored. I think for most women, the distinction they draw is that no bear would ever attempt to sexually assault them. Yeah, yeah. All the bear is going to do is try and eat and kill us, right? That's a good point. I think you're right. That's exactly where the distinction is. COVID isolate, yeah, Miss Dragon, you're right. COVID isolated more and more people, separating them, leaving them easier to influence, compromise. Yep. Yeah, it is exactly what happened. More and more police departments are training their police officers on autism. Like if they can't look you in the eye, it's not necessarily that they're using a substance, but they could be autistic. I like that they're doing this. I hope that they keep doing it and keep doing more of it. Um, like historically, police departments don't have great training on mental health in the first place, and there's sometimes issues where like they encounter someone having a psychotic episode and it's not handled well because that person's not thinking rationally through no fault of their own. Some places are getting better at the training on that. I'd like to see it continue. Yeah, me too. Don Glove says, "Oh, young people with autism have been mistreated and even killed because of misunderstanding and being immediately deemed a threat because they don't understand everyone yelling at them." Yeah, exactly. And then when you have multiple people yelling at you, like as a person with autism who is prone to sensory overwhelm, that just causes you to shut down even more and, not comply even more, not on purpose, but just because that's how your, nervous system reacts to it. Oh my gosh. Is this something people said in AOL chat rooms to you, Sandy Wandy? Wow. Yeah, yeah, yeah. People said all kinds of weird things to me in AOL chat rooms too. Sweet younger autistic sister was violent, ridiculous. Oh, your younger sister was? Wow. So not all AOL chat rooms are bad. Let's make that clear. Some AOL chat rooms, good things happen. Like, for example, Mary from Blessed to Crochet met her husband, Mr. Blessed to Crochet, in an AOL chat room. So not always a bad thing. Not always cesspools for creepy people. Sometimes very good things happen. Janet G says, my mom loves hearing accents from other areas. Back in the days of 411, she used to call other cities and ask for herself just to hear the voices. Funny or creepy? I don't think that's creepy. I kind of get that. This says Mary. I can put in my guarantee that you were not in a lesbian chat room. Yeah, you probably wouldn't have met your husband in the lesbian chat room on AOL. Just hazarding a guess, probably. And Sandy Wandy met her guy Rob on Craigslist. I didn't know that they had, like, a dating part of Craigslist. That's interesting. I didn't realize that. I was on OkCupid for a little while. I don't know if anyone remembers OkCupid. It was like I'm not sure if it was more for hookups or more for actual dating. I think it was kind of both. But I wasn't on it for very long because it was just like I was in college at a university, so it wasn't really like you could meet people without using OkCupid. Hey, Carrie Ann says, my first two boy children were very large young men, tall and strong. They talk about how hard it was when the moms who knew them in kindergarten all of a sudden started being afraid of them. Oh gosh, that has to mess with a young guy's like self concept. You know? Like, that's like so if you encounter a man you've never met before, right? Like, that's different. Like, they're a stranger to me. I have no idea who they are, and they're, like, formidable or whatever, like, maybe I'll be more cautious. But someone that you've known your whole life and, like, that 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 to me, that's sad. Like, they don't start being a different person just because they're taller. Like, that's sad to me. I thought maybe so. Thank you, Sandy Wandy. Yes, raccoons are related to bears. I thought so. I knew it. That's awesome. Yeah, it looks like there's agreement here. Janet G, your mom sounds funny and unique, not creepy. You're right, miss. Bears don't have the jazz hands that raccoons do. Raccoons have little thumbs. So I remember my friend growing up had cats that were kind of indoor outdoor, preferring mainly to be outdoor. And when she was out of town, like they would put food out every night on the patio, but they had it in a big bin and they had like rigged it up like we have to put the brick on top of the food bin so the raccoons don't get into it because they can pry the lid off with their little thumbs. And actually I think there y'all, doesn't Nick have raccoons? Like, doesn't he take care of raccoons? I don't know. I haven't seen him around lately, but I feel like maybe I'm remembering that correctly. I think that's kind of cool. But one night the raccoons banded together and they like worked together to get this heavy rock off the top of it and like broke into the cat food and ate all the cat food. So I had to go buy more. Oh no, you're kidding. Really? It was this widespread, Sandy Wandy? Sandy Wendy says, every year when I lived in Alaska, somebody became bear lunch. That's terrible. That's awful. I had no idea this was so widespread in Alaska or places where bears live. Jenna G says, my brother in law is a wildlife biologist specializing in grizzly bears and wolves. He tells great stories. He's worked mostly in Banff National Park in Alberta. I bet he does have some great stories. I have seen a bear in the wild once, and it was in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, like driving up to a ski resort out there. We saw a mama with some cubs cross the street. We were in the car, like far back, of course, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But yeah, she was big. She was big. I wouldn't have wanted to make that mama mad at all. Rolling Stone. I'd join a dating app, but what if I met someone? Yikes. A human. Ugh. I mean, that is a hazard. But you could join the dating app and then just reject anyone who messaged you. Like, it's low pressure. It's pressure, right? Oh, really, Miss Sunrise Dawn? You met your hubby on OkCupid? So it's not just for hookups. It's for people that wanna legitimately date and, like, have relationships too. I don't know Zoosk. I wasn't familiar with that one. I'm bored says, "My husband told me he tried a OkCupid and even Zoosk before we got together. Met his ex on Zoosk, and he deleted the app after." Gotcha. I was on OkCupid, so I had dated this guy, like, on and off for, like, 7-ish years. Like, I met him when I was 17, and I, like, just continued dating him, and at one point, he dumped me for this other girl, and I was like, "Well, I'm bummed. I'm gonna date." So I set it up. I set up an OkCupid to well, I'm gonna try to date too, and I think I met one person on OkCupid, and, yeah, like, there's nothing wrong with him or anything like that. It just I don't know, it just felt like an awkward way for me to meet people, so I didn't stick with it. So, Warren, if you're sending links in the chat, usually if you send a link, like if you just copy and paste a link, you have to be a mod to be able to share that. So if you're trying to link to something, um, I'm not sure what the best way to do that is. I think maybe if you type link before it and then like just do like the main part of the website. Because I'm not seeing anything from you with a link in it. It's probably not getting through because of the way that YouTube works and you have to be a moderator to send links. And I think that's to prevent like bots from spamming and stuff like that. So I've not seen anything from you with a link. Sorry. I promise I wasn't trying to ignore. Miss Dragon says, I first saw hubby old chat way cruising the avenue. That's funny. Old chat way. I wanted to make sure I understood correctly. Raccoons. Yeah, I still have it set to live chat. My best friend met his wife on eHarmony. Oh, cool. So does anyone know how I can look at so this is on StreamYard, right? So I may just not be seeing it on StreamYard. Like sometimes if you just copy and paste a link directly and you're not a mod, like YouTube won't put it in the chat. Like it'll just block it and then I won't see it. No one else will ever see it. Um, but if you like just type link and then take out, I don't know, the HTTP or the www or something like that, then a mod can check it and linkify it perhaps. Are you trying to send me to the TED Talk? Is that where you're trying to share with me, Warren? Because I know you had said that's probably why I missed it then, if you were sending a link. But I will check the YouTube interface. Yeah, I'm not seeing any links on the YouTube interface either. Yeah, if you're not seeing it, then I'm probably not seeing it. That's the deal. Ooh, okay. Type in what makes people engage with math. Cool, cool. Let's take a look here. Okay, I can't see the chat for a minute now because I've opened up a new window. So feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I'm finding this. What makes people engage with math? Oh, it's the TEDx talk you were talking about. Okay, cool, cool, cool. All right. I pulled it up and I will watch this. screen just left. Oh, I'm back. Technical difficulties. Apologies. Can you guys hear and see me still? Let me know if you cannot. Yeah, some of the new TikTok filters could be catfishing. That's a good point, Miss Dragon. Sandy makes a good point that makes a huge difference in what makes people engage with math probably is if their parents make them comfortable with it. Because Sandy Wandy, you said you were a math major. I did not have the aptitude for it. Like, it was naturally a little bit more difficult than other things for me, and so that kind of, I started out, behind the 8 ball with, getting into math. Am I still frozen for you guys? Oh, no. Okay, I'm not frozen. At least I'm not on mine. Let me know if I am frozen. I hope it was in the most unflattering facial expression possible for the laughs. I hope I was doing this or something. Janet G says, "My 6-year-old nephew is doing crazy things with math. He's in kindergarten and he's adding and subtracting numbers up to 50 in his head. You're at 6? That's amazing. Also understands fractions and percentages. Crazy." I feel like that's an aptitude. That's cool. That's very cool. Thanks for sharing Miss Sunrise Dawn's channel link, Mary. Y'all check her out. All right, I'm bored. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out and chatting with us. It's always great. Always great to see you. Aw, you love me even when I'm fuzzy. Thanks, Rolling Stone. That means a lot to me. Even when I'm fuzzy. Here, I could like get static electricity. I could rub a balloon on my head and then I'd be more fuzzy. Like right now I have like my hair is just flat, so I can't do it right now. But one of these days I'll get a balloon and rub it so I can be like literally fuzzy. Just to make y'all laugh. And there is Hey Carrie Ann's channel. Check her out too, please, please, please. She is awesome. We love her. Aptitude can be cultivated, says Sandy Wandy. That's true. My parents cultivated it in my sister and me. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like if you notice that your kiddo is good at something and seems to have a talent for it and you encourage it, sometimes that encouragement makes a huge difference for real. Okay, I've never tried to do a reaction video before, Warren. I might use this to branch out and do that. I just have to make sure I have to learn how to edit if I'm going to do that though, because you can't just like play the whole other person's video. Otherwise, YouTube doesn't like that. So I'll have to like comment a lot and edit a little bit, but I'll do that. Thank you. I have been interested in exploring that type of YouTube content and just hadn't known where to start. So thanks. Thanks for sharing it. That'll be fun for me too, because I have mild trauma around math in school. I was not good at it. I didn't feel confident at it. I had to retake it. So it's a good topic for me to delve into. So thank you. Uh-oh. Did Rolling Stone get hidden? Oh, okay, okay. Rolling Stone, I still see you. Let me unhide you. Let's see, let's see. I can still see Rolling Stone on the YouTube chat. But I'm not sure I can see you on the StreamYard chat. This is weird. Hold, please. Oh, no, I can see you on StreamYard. Okay. You're back, Rolling Stone. We gotcha. We gotcha. We weren't going to let you disappear. We weren't going to let you be hidden. Sometimes it's easy to like you click and you mean to click one thing and then it's like, here's the block key right away. It's easy to happen. Awesome. Thank you, Miss Sunrise Dawn. We are here. We are here. We are here. Yay. It's all good. It's all good, you guys. Yeah, I'll give a try to doing a react video. Um, I have watched a lot of content creators that do reaction videos. I've never thought about doing it before. I tend to really enjoy this live stuff, but I could give that a shot and I could maybe premiere it like a live. I'm not saying it's going to be edited beautifully. That's not necessarily something I'm great at yet, but uh I'll give it a try because I like trying new things because that keeps me from getting bored with life. So thank you. Thank you, thank you. Aw, Rolling Stone. I'm the littlest who in Whoville. Aw. And please check out Miss Dragon's channel. Miss Dragon does a lot of fun meme content. It's nice mix with the funny and the serious. She does a lot of serious stuff, but mixes it up nicely. And then Miss Dragon also goes live most weekdays in the afternoon at Miss Dragon. Correct me if I'm wrong. Usually around 3:30 Central Time Zone, 1:30 Pacific. But correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. You are Sandy Wandy, that makes me so happy. I love that people like the Page 47 thing, and I love that people are picking it up and doing their own spin on it. That makes me happy. Uh, I feel like it makes certain books more accessible, you know? Like maybe you're too overwhelmed to read this whole thing, but you can look at one page and see what you get from one page, right? And then if you like it enough, you can read the rest of the book. Oh gosh, we accidentally hid Rick too. Oh no, oh no, oh no. Is Rick back? I can still see Rick. I can see Rick. Rolling Stone. So I've got two awesome books as potentials for book club for June. One of them one of them though is not coming out until June. So I might have to wait on that one just because I kind of wanted to start a little bit before then. But I also want to reach out to the author of that book as well because we know the author. So that's cool. And actually, someone adjacent to our community knows the other author too. So, but that book is already out. Like, it's already accessible. So, like, I want people to be able to get it if they want to read it. But that is coming very shortly. Probably in the next day or two. I'll put that up. And if you guys want to read along and talk about it, we can. If you want to just keep hanging out like we do, that's cool too. I'm going to call this low pressure book club. Low pressure, no commitment book club to make it accessible. Oh, cool, Miss Dragon. I'm planning on a live tomorrow. I've got some videos. I need to record what I wrote. I just haven't had the opportunity over the weekend. Yeah, I'm sure things have been busy, but I love Miss Dragon's videos. She has a very calming voice. I'm always calmer when Miss Dragon's around. It's a pretty cool thing. And next up, you guys, this is around the time of night when our friend Chow Yun Smut usually goes live. I haven't got a notification yet, but I'm expecting to see one shortly. And I hear she is going to tell us the story about her cool tattoo she has that says the Latin phrase for "Don't let the bastards get you down," and then has what she said. She said it was flowers that are beautiful, but also poisonous. Gosh, I want to hear the story of that tattoo. So if you're still awake and you're still wanting more of this live connection type thing, go head on over to Chow Yun Smut Cricket's channel. I think she'll be going live in just a minute. Ooh, and Miss Sunrise Dawn sent me a picture of kitty cats, and I would be remiss if I did not share this, if it's okay with you, Miss Sunrise Dawn, because how do you not share kitty cat pictures? They're the best. They're the best. I just have to pull my email back out again. Cute kitties. They're so pretty. Here's the cute kitties, you guys. Aren't they precious? I want to snuggle them. I want to snuggle the kitty cats. Okay, what are my other... Oh, that wasn't my notification for Chow. That was it telling me my Bluetooth battery is low. I know, phone. I know. Get the Cliff Notes. Some of them are new books. I don't know if they're Cliff Notes yet, but you know what? I can make notes. I can make Cliff Notes for you. I can do the book review thing. I can try my hand at the booktuber thing. That's a whole subgenre of YouTube is booktubers. Like they review books, they talk about writing books, self-publishing. That's a whole thing. It's pretty interesting. Oh, my doggy Sandy Wandy, he's asleep right next to me. No, right behind me. Oh, I can't move the chair because his nose is literally pressed up against the wheel of the chair. He's like right up next to my chair. So When it's time for me to get up, I'm gonna have to, like, get his attention with sound or something. I'll show you guys before we leave if I can get the camera angle to work. Oh, those kitties are the twin brothers. Aw, Lenny and Squeaky. Oh, there's a kangaroo, Sandy Wandy. Did you email it or did you Facebook Messenger it? Let's see, let's see. Because who doesn't love a kangaroo? I love kangaroos. I'm looking. Is it Messenger or email? Let's see, let's see. Oh, here it's Messenger. Oh, and this is a cool photo Sandy Wandy sent me. Look at this little baby kangaroo. Mm, I want a kangaroo friend. It's so cute. I want cats and a kangaroo. I want to meet that kangaroo and I want to meet Miss Sunrise on kitty cat twin brothers Lenny and Squeaky. Oh, this is beautiful. Miss Dragon says, most people use a rose as a symbol for love, but they forget that it comes with thorns. A perfect example that love can be painful. That's absolutely true. Absolutely. But I think it's worth it. We'll just throw that out there. And probably our PhD kitties would agree as well. Very intellectual kitties. They look like they have PhD degrees in kittyology. I like that. Good night, Mon. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for being an awesome, awesome mod and awesome, awesome friend, sister, big sister, looking out for me, making sure I don't make stupid decisions on the internet. I appreciate you. Thanks, Rolling Stone. You have a good night too. It's good to see you. I'm glad you could hang out with us and chat about whatever. It's always good to see you. Yes, and thank you to all that have served. Thank you to our veterans. Warren Shell asks, what's the timeline and format of book club? So my vision is to pick a book each month, like say for the month of June, we'll pick this book and I'll read it. People can choose to read it along with me if they want to. And then at the end of the month, one of these lives, we can say, hey, this is the book club live. If you'd like to come on screen and chat about the book with me, you're welcome to. And I can give a link for people to hop on with me. Or if you don't like to be on screen, you can just chat about it in the live stream. It basically will just give us a specific topic for that live stream to kind of try to more or less stick to. Um, but that's my vision for it. And I don't want it to always be fiction or always be nonfiction. I'd like it to be something different. And I'd like to, I would like to welcome y'all's input and the people that are participating in it. Like, oh, this one is really good. Like, can we read this one this month? This one is like, I've gotten suggestions from like members of our community have written books. And so I'm really excited to read what they've written because I think that's cool that I would, potentially get to like speak to the author as well. So that's the idea for it. It's still a work in progress, however, and I'm open to suggestions on how to make that run smoothly, of course. Hey, look who's live. It's Chow Yun Sut, you guys. I'm going to put her link to the direct live so that we can all just like hop right on over there because I want to hear her story. I don't know about you guys. I do. Or if you're going to bed, then good night and please sleep well. And I am looking forward to seeing you in one of the other places we all like to hang out or in Chow Yun Smut's channel in a minute. Cricket's channel. The channel name is Chow Yun Smut. Just gonna post her. Oh, Miss Sunrise Dawn is quicker on the draw than me. There's Cricket. Awesome, awesome. So I will see you guys over there, or I will see you guys tomorrow. And oh, everybody jumped on it. There's like 3 of us sharing her link. We'll have to let her know just how much we support her. There were 3 of us that shared your link, Cricket. We all want to hear that story. Alrighty. And then because I wouldn't have started a channel without it. Here is the lifeboat. If you have not been there, go there, take a gander. Thank you so much, you guys. I'm so happy and surprised and um, just in awe anytime people show up here. So thank you for showing up here. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you more. Take care. Have a good night, y'all. Bye.